Morning, everybody. Hi, Francis.
Hello to you too.
So we are now live. Just before you introduce yourself, just before we go into the session, I just like for all the participants to take 2 minutes to answer the polls at the bottom of your screen. Can you see that, Francis? Can you see the poll?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, so we'll just take 2 minutes to answer that poll, and then we'll go
Okay.
right into the session.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah. So let me mute you, then I'll unmute you. Or let me not mute you. So we'll take 2 minutes to answer the poll over there. Okay. Guys, please answer the poll questions at the bottom of your screen. So if you're using your laptop, you'll be able to see at the bottom of the screen on your right hand side. This is my right, so I don't know if it's still your right. There's a question: if age is only a state of mind, which category best describes your state of mind right now? So you just vote for whichever. Then the next one, I see a few people already voting. Which superpower would you like to have? Mind reading, invisibility, teleportation, flying, or you already have a superpower? And then lastly, when passing by a reflective surface, I use it to see if anyone is following me. I check myself out, doesn't everyone? Or I use to contemplate the deeper meaning of life. Okay, so 2 minutes. Okay, guys, 2 more seconds. And I see some interesting answers. So 18.2% of you say that you'd be a cheeky child. 18.2% say tormented teenagers. 54.5%, wow, mad midlifer. And then 9.1% of you say groovy grandparent. Which superpower would you like to have? 63.6% of you say mind reading. 9.1% invisibility. 9.1% teleportation. 9.1% flying. 9.1% you already have a superpower. Wow, okay. When passing by a reflective surface, I use it to see if anyone is following me. 9.1%. 81.8% check themselves out. 9.1% use to contemplate the deeper meaning of life. So if you've not yet answered, you can still answer as we go into the session. So let's not take too much time. We'll go to Francis. Francis, unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. Just tap the screen. Just tap the screen. Yeah, there.
Okay.
Yeah, now
I
I
had to
hear
go
you.
back somewhere. I had to go back where it's in test and then for it to come back to normal. If I tap my screen, it refuses. So sadly, though.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's why I said let me not mute you. Okay, so we are good to go. We are good to go. So our topic of the day to all the participants is fundraising for your cause. Yesterday we were talking about finding the cause. So after you find your cause, what's next? We go to fundraising. So Francis, the floor is yours. You can introduce yourself and you can use any format you like. You can speak as people ask questions, or you can speak and finish and people can ask their questions. But for just for everyone to know, at the bottom of your screen, there's a button. Next to the poll button, there's a button that says ask a question. So just write your question there. Or if you can't, use the chat box. Okay, let's go.
Okay. Where do I start
Francis,
from?
let's go.
I'm Francis Otieno Amonde. I'm Francis Otieno Amonde. Can you hear me?
Okay. Are you frozen? Francis, you're frozen on the screen.
Yes.
What happened?
Okay. I don't know what happened. I can see you. Yes. Hello. Hello.
Okay, you can go now. You can go ahead.
You are hearing me now?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I'm Francis Otieno Amonde, and I'm the founder of Cup of Uji, which is basically a school feeding initiative in Kenya. And we currently reach out to like 3,793 children across the country in 8 schools and in 6 different counties in this country. And yeah, we work with a team of so many volunteers across the country because every county we have volunteers there. So basically, in short, there is Francis Otieno Amonde. I'm also a Rotaractor at the Rotaract Club of Dika, community-based, and I also sit on the board of Wings of Hope Rescue Home in Kamulu. And additionally, I work also as a social media manager. So that is Francis. Yes. Cynthia, over to you.
Yeah, so yesterday we were focusing on finding your cause. So today we'll just be talking about fundraising. So maybe you can tell us where Kapovuji initially began. Maybe some of the participants here have already seen you on TV with Betty Kialo, but do they really know the real story? Where did you start?
That is interesting. Yeah, so let me. So I give a brief about Kapovuji. Okay, let me give a brief about Kapovuji. Kapovuji is an initiative that started in 2011. So basically, that was in Oyugis at a school called Nyatwere Primary School. It's in Homa Bay County, and it happened to be the workstation where my late mom was working as a teacher, as a primary school teacher. So I had gone there just to visit her, and then I found some children who were not really looking healthy, but they were also out of class. So I made a point of inquiring they were, what issue was. So I was informed that for majority of them, they were either orphans, partial or total. So, and in that community, they were staying with their grandparents. So it meant that they would come to school literally in the morning without having had either breakfast or both breakfast and dinner the previous night, because most of these grandparents are people who didn't have a stable source of income that would ensure that they have 3 square meals a day. So when that happened, then I started thinking, you know what, I was still a student by then, so I thought of in campus, so I thought of like, what could I do in my own small way? And then I wanted to do a lunch of rice and beans because that is balanced, it has proteins, there is such. But when I looked into my pocket, I realized that I couldn't afford rice and beans for the kids. So I said, okay, let me cross this off my head. So I crossed that off, and I thought of like, okay, how about I do uji for these children? So and the uji I had in mind was not something that was so grand the way we have it right now. It was just basically buying the white maize, grinding, taking the flour to the school, and it wasn't for the whole. Actually, it wasn't for the whole school. It was actually for the preschool children. That is baby class, nursery, and pre-unit. Who are by then plenty of 100 children. And so the most interesting bit is that, okay, for that one, I was using my pocket because I was in campus. So I figured out how I was going to do this was to actually, I did the cost estimation for what we were paying for the hostel in the school. And then I also did the cost estimation for what a bedsitter would go for outside the school. And the bedsitters were going for like, I think 4,500 a month. So I talked to 3 of my friends. So we were now 4 of us. We came together, went, rented a bedsitter. We were now 4, sharing rent of 4,500. So yeah, so that was the cost cutting measure I did. But basically, it was to save money so that the rest of it goes into feeding those kids. So that is basically why it started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so far, what has been the impact, especially on the education and the nutrition of the kids?
Okay, what I can say right now is that we continue to see the different schools that we support. We continue to see them having improved academic performance. The kids are more active in school, which is a good thing. They're also able to concentrate in class because they receive the porridge in the morning. And then additionally, yeah, they look more healthy. If I look at the images we had before and the bubbly faces I can see right now when I go to the schools, it's all two different sides of the same coin. Yeah, so that
Mm-hmm.
has been, yeah. So we and then also in terms of absenteeism, also it's almost nil because they look forward. There is something to look forward to when you go to school. There is porridge. So they will always look forward to going to school. They won't want to miss because there is that porridge in school. So which is a good thing.
And you support schools in Nairobi and Homa Bay, I believe.
Yeah, we
Um,
have
how
we
many
have like
schools?
a total of we have a total of 8 schools. So these 8 schools are spread across 6 counties. We have 2 schools in Homa Bay County in Oyugis. Actually, that is Nyatwere and Kasimba Primary Schools. And then
Mm-hmm.
we have Sitot Primary School in West Pokot. And then we have Balozi School in Kawangware. We have Love School in Kawangware. And we have Kumpa Holy Mothers Primary in Kajiado. We have Silala Primary in Ganze in Kilifi. And then we
Mm-hmm.
have Makindi Primary in Kandara in Muranga County. Yeah, so basically. yeah, those are the schools that we support.
Wow, that's a lot of schools. So
Yeah.
I know you've said you really touched on the part of saving money as the initial beginning. But then just
Yeah.
before we go now to the digital fundraising, how have you been able
Yes.
to get young people to come together for your cause, the volunteers that you work with?
Okay, I think maybe it's because of having done communication as as my what I studied in school, and maybe I find it easier talking to people. Okay, I kind of find it easier talking to people, so it
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't. And then I don't know whether to call that a gift or something.
Mm-hmm.
I have a tendency where I can go to a place, just a random place, and pick out someone. Just tell them, okay, can I have your contact? And then I engage them. I sometimes I even wonder why I'm asking people for their contact because then later on I'm like, okay, I engage them in something because I can remember there was this day that I had gone to. There was a lecture at the the university. The university in Rongai. What's the name of this university? The Multimedia University.
Multimedia,
So
yes.
so she had invited me to go and do a mentorship talk to boys at Oleleza Boys in Kajiado County. And so when I went there, then I remember meeting this lady, and she was doing beadwork.
Mm-hmm.
So I just asked her for her contact, and then I think in less than a week, I had called her and then I asked her, when are you normally free? Then she was like, I'm having classes, but on weekends I'm free. So I said, okay, this weekend, can we meet? And then we met. And then fortunately, we had just started admitting the first teenage mothers to the Wings of Hope Rescue Center where I sit on the board. And
Mm-hmm.
so when she came, I was like, okay, we are having these teenage mothers, they have been rescued from violent backgrounds and stuff like that. Some of them raped. And I was like, can you teach them the skill of just doing the beadwork? And yeah, so that ended up being useful. So basically, that is how I tend to kind sometimes get people. They might not
Mm-hmm.
know how, because I've had instances where we have people who are like, no, me, I can't do that. I'm like, okay, we'll help you along the way in case you have
Mm-hmm.
questions. And I've seen them grow, and I'm happy. Yeah, I'm happy.
Yeah. And so how
Yeah.
then did you get into the digital space? I know you said you studied communication, but now how did you realize that this is the platform that I can use to mobilize for my cause?
Okay, then before I finish on the other bit of getting young people, I previously served with the best organizations in this country, and I've seen. Sometimes I try to replicate what I see happening there in what we do and Kapohoji, and I've also been a teacher.
Mhm.
That is the most interesting bit. I was
Okay,
a
I
teacher
didn't know
before I
that.
even before I graduated. I was a teacher at Nyali Integrated Academy in Mombasa.
Ah,
So
yes, I
I was
remember
teaching.
you told me. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I was teaching ICT, I was teaching English grammar, and then I was teaching history. The only sad bit was that I had to learn the history, the European history, because they don't have it in their books. So they
Yeah.
don't have the African history in their books. So that was interesting. So another thing that I wanted to say about getting young people to get involved. One, it is always important to appreciate the people who come to volunteer, to actually even volunteer their skills, their time, their resources, and that is one point we normally fail at, and that is something I really guard so much because
Mhm.
I know, like, someone needs to move from point A to point B. So basically what I normally do with young people who are just volunteering, I make sure when they come doing the volunteer work, whenever they do an activity, their transport, their lunch, their airtime, it is catered for, because that has to come from my pocket. So it's just the best way to do something. It is good to appreciate someone because they at the end of the day, they also have needs. Some of them have bills. And also just having open conversations with them. Sometimes you just check on them, ask them, oh, how are you doing? Is there something I can come in? So just like that. So that helps. That goes a long way into what we do. Yeah.
Mhm. And so, how did you now start the social media bit of fundraising? Had you tried to write about your initiative to organizations, big donors to give you good money, and then you decided to put it into it?
Okay, the most interesting bit is that I've never done a single proposal. Those things are
Oh,
frustrating. I've seen people get frustrated, and I always prefer the approach of I'll come to that later, but I've always seen people getting frustrated because I remember when the time when I went to Samburu to visit Josephine Kulea at the Samburu Girls Foundation. We had gone to donate some selected parts to her girls, and she was like, she was giving me an example of a dormitory she wanted constructed for the girls there. And then she
yeah.
was like, she wrote to one of the corporates, and the corporates like taking time. They took like 4 years, 4 good years to approve. By the time they were approving, she had already gotten someone to set that dormitory up. So when the money came, she was like, okay, I have the dormitory, but now this money, I can't let it go back. So what you are going to do, this money, just allow us to use this money to construct 4 classrooms, because right now she has a school for the girls within the compound, so it is cheaper for her. So yeah, so that is how frustrating proposals can be, because you never know. The process can be tedious. So I wouldn't advise anyone. I've personally not gone that direction, so I wouldn't
Mhm.
advise on that in any way, because I've never believed. If someone believes in the work that you do, I believe they need to come through. Yeah. So so onto the digital media space. Having studied communication, now let me tell you, there is an advantage to it. So so having studied communication, then in 2014, because there was always the pressure of the need to increase from just taking care of the under children at the preschool to include the old school. So the teachers were like, the older kids were always fighting with the younger ones over porridge. So they're like, okay, can you do something about this? I'm like, I'm just me. I don't have funds. I was still trying to make in life, and though when I got the job before graduation, it was good because I was looking forward to my salary. Actually, a good percentage of it would go into the feeding. So when that happened in 2014, I think around October, I remember at around it was midnight. So this is just advice, free advice to young people who are watching this one. Most of the senior people you see in this country, they're active on social media in the wee hours of the morning. So between 7 11 p.m. they're not on social media, but after that they're very active. So that is one thing that I'm always, and actually they engage. So I took advantage of that and decided that now that I need more funds to scale up to include the old school. What can I do about it? So I went to Twitter specifically and decided to tweet the president of this country. That was crazy.
Mhm.
That's how crazy I get.
But you have to
That's
be
how crazy I
crazy
get
to achieve
sometimes.
some things.
Yeah, so that's how crazy, and I think it's both crazy and daring.
Mhm.
So I did that, and then when I did that, and I just explained what Kapogoji was doing. I explained what we were doing, where we were, where we have come from, and the fact that I needed to have the whole school catered for. And when I did that, then I think in something to do with less than 5 minutes, by then the person who was in charge of the presidential digital communications was Mr. Dennis Itumbi.
Mhm.
So what he basically did was he tweeted me back. It was like, Francis, I'm following you. Can you follow me back? So I followed him back, and he sent me a direct message on Twitter, and he was like, okay, can I have your contact? So I sent him a number, and then he called, and we had this conversation, and he was like, some of these things you don't have to get the attention of the president, and we can see what we can do. But basically, I explained, like, for me at the point where I was, that was the only hope I had. The president is in charge of everyone, so he can pull strings around. So,
Yeah, I get you.
yeah, so basically we had a lengthy conversation about the school, about the children, about the impact. And that was a conversation that went towards now 2 a.m. We are still talking, so
Mhm.
and then he was like, okay, let's see what we can do. And then by then we had our pay bill number. And so I gave him the pay bill number, and he was like, let's see what we can do. and we started doing the hashtag Kapovuji and raising funds. He urged people to actually support Kapovuji and shared the pay bill. And I think by around 4 in the morning, we had enough to scale the whole school. And since then, we never looked back. Yes,
Wow.
that is how powerful social media is. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, that's really so interesting. So I guess to all the participants, what you're getting, you just have to be daring enough, tweet somebody, ask someone. You just never know who will listen. And just before we had this conversation last month, we were talking about the importance of branding, even when you're doing that
Yes.
social media campaign. Just tell us a little bit
Yes.
about the dynamics of branding.
Okay, branding. I think I once read somewhere that use what I don't know whether was it use what you make or something. Because yeah, if you're manufacturing cups, can you use the same cups in your house? That's branding, basically. So that when someone says, it's like, okay, I love this cup, you know.
Mhm.
So for me, branding has been as easy as making sure that I have this couple of Fuji t-shirts, you know. So, anytime, anywhere, I'll always have them with me. So
Yeah.
that has made it easier because someone sees couple of Fuji, so they're like, okay, they can go Google it somewhere, they will find it. So
Hmm.
it's branding is important. So most young people I see, they tend to complicate around branding in terms of once you have the brand, make sure it is visible.
Hmm.
If you can wear it, wear it. If you can share it, share it. But I prefer wearing it because it creates curiosity in the minds of people, so that someone will be like, oh, I saw something capable, you know. So it will ring in the memories of people. So yeah, that is very important.
Yeah, yeah, I get you. And the other day we were talking about mchanga. I know
Yes.
right now, like for example, during the coronavirus pandemic, I'm getting a lot of
Hmm.
messages on WhatsApp, contribute to this, contribute to
Hmm.
this. How do
Hmm.
people get to trust your initiative? Because we never know how that pay bill was created. Just tell us about the
Hmm.
benefits of mchanga to your organization. What is it,
Okay,
first
let me
of
give
all?
this. Yeah, Mchanga is actually an online fundraising platform that is it was an innovation by some two genius young gentlemen, and I happen to know them right now at a personal level. So initially, and that was in 2012. Uh, yeah, 2012, 9th of December 2012. I had just seen on their face, they had a Facebook page, I think, by then. So I just saw something written in Changa. Then I was like, okay, what's this? So I'm always curious. So I decided to check it out. Then I got their contact. And then I called them. Then I said, okay, what do you guys do? And they were like, okay, we've just started a fundraising platform. By then it wasn't online. So they said, we've just started a fundraising platform, but it was SMS based. If someone sent a donation to Kavuji, I would receive a text message on my phone that so and so has donated amount to Kapovuji. So by then it was SMS based. Then I was like, okay, so what are the charges? There were no charges. You know, they don't charge you for starting a fundraiser on the platform. So the only thing was you submit the registration documents, and then also the people who are in charge of withdrawing the cash and the people who are in charge of approving. And I said, okay, I can give this a try. And so that is how I jumped onto the Mchanga platform on 9th of December in 2012. And yeah, so up to today, I've still stuck with them because one, the overhead cost is considerably low because I think they charge 4.25% when someone is making of the total withdrawals whenever you're withdrawing, which is considerably low because I can see someone pitched the idea to me, but they were like, they would be charging 3% for every donation. I was like, that's quite expensive. We need this money for the kids, you know.
Yeah.
So I've grown with them, and it is something I've seen them grow also. And sometimes when I even go and we have meetings and we have conversations around their products and everything, they're like, I believed in them even when no one else couldn't take that risk of believing in them. And then
Yeah.
another thing is the transparency, which is very important. You can do printouts of the donations. And then thirdly, there is the option where someone wants to donate. It tells you you've donated this percentage for this fundraiser, which is quite a good thing, so that you know whether the fundraiser is making progress or it's not making progress. So the accountability, the transparency, and the fact that the funds are safe, yeah, I think that gives them an edge over maybe when the Safaricom and stuff like that. Yeah.
Mhm. There's a
Yeah.
question here, guys. Start sending your question. So, what are some of the challenges you faced?
Generally or specifically?
Well, generally, in terms of your organization and fundraising.
uh, yeah, fundraising is tough. You must have a thick skin. And then generally, you have, yes, you will have volunteers who want to come and just lay, take pictures, and disappear. So we've had such instances, and I always take it with grace. God gave me the grace to just allow someone to finish their day, but going forward, you stop engaging them in any other activity because you're like, they're not there for serving humanity, but they're there for other reasons. So
Mhm.
we always know how to weed them out, because I remember there was a time we went to serve some street boys in Kawangware, and this gentleman, because I remember by then I had met with people who had expressed their willingness to volunteer. And so this gentleman wanted to because we have a mentorship program for boys. So he wanted to be in charge of that, because I said, "Oh, anyone can run with anything, because yeah, so long as you can do it, if you have questions, ask, and then we guide you." So we had gone to cook for these boys, and then there were these ladies, and then there was this lady who was having a huge sufuria she was to carry.
Mhm.
So when that happened, and then the guy was standing next to her, but the guy just stood there and didn't even dare assist her. So I had to literally, because it was a heavy one, so I had to literally go and assist her. And she got so pissed off. She was like, "I would have even poured this hot thing on this guy because he's just standing next to me. He's not even noticing that this thing is heavy." And I think throughout the whole process, he didn't even engage with the street boys. So I was like, okay, how is he going to mentor the boys if he doesn't even want to be close to these street boys? So that was, I don't know, for us, that was a no. So those are some of the challenges that have come through in terms of volunteers. You have people, and then you also have this surge of so many people sending applications to volunteer, but you call them to come, they don't show up. I remember there was a day, and the lady got pissed off. I wasn't present, but she had the lady who is in charge of our volunteers. She was like, she had organized a meeting with everyone who had expressed their willingness to volunteer. So we had a bigger venue
Mhm.
in town, and we had paid a lot of money. We paid for meals and everything, because based on the number that she had said, had confirmed they were coming.
Mhm.
She ended up with two people. So that was a lot of money wasted for no reason. So I just told her, just cool down, chill. I met her later in the day when I passed by, and she was just so low, and I could feel, because yeah, you've given this your very all, and then people just don't show up, and you've spent resources, so it's painful. And then
Yeah.
in terms of fundraising is tough. It's not a walk in the park for
Mhm.
anyone, and at the same time, I would advise someone to try work within their cycles first. Just try share what you do with whatever opportunity you find anywhere. Just share what you do. Don't even tell people to donate. Just share that this is what I
Mhm.
do. This is the impact I'm making. You just never know who will be listening, and who will be because those are some of the ways we've been able to get our donations, because someone is like, no, I had this person talk about them doing this, so I would like to support. Now they come back now asking, okay, how can someone support? So just go sharing what you do without having the expectation that people will literally donate. And then another approach that we are currently using is basically, we also maximize also on the use of social media, in terms of make sure your presence is there. If you're running an initiative, make sure you're present on social media, and make sure you respond to people. Let me tell you, in 2015, I felt sad. I wanted to celebrate my birthday in a children's home in this Nairobi. And then I went to all you know how you go to Facebook search and then you search for children's homes in Nairobi,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
I search for all of them. I send the messages. I didn't even get a single response, not even a single one. So
What?
I had to literally call a friend of mine who by then was working at the Kibra MP's office, and we studied with them in high school. So I was like, Hakim, can you do you know any children's home in Kibra? And you have their contact where I can just go and then he shared some lady's number, and then I called the mama, and the mama was like, yeah, it's fine, you can come and do your birthday here. And it was so sad. So yeah, please, if you set up those social media pages, please respond to people, respond to their comments, respond to their messages, because it is really frustrating. There is nothing as frustrating as you wanting to support something. You send a
Yeah.
message, no one replies, So it's quite, so be there on the social media platforms, share what you do on those social media platforms, and make sure you brand. Yeah, use your name, wear
Mm-hmm.
it if you have to, carry it with you everywhere. Share about what you do everywhere. Don't just mind, if someone asks you what do you do, share what you do, So it's really important. Yeah,
Yeah.
because
And
because let me just add that the presence of Kapuvuji on social media,
mhm.
that is why we don't even do proposals, because companies now tend to approach, like, yeah, you get a
Yeah.
call from a company, they're like, can you come, we have a conversation, because I'm like, I love more of having conversations than writing a proposal which you don't know whether the board will even read.
I know for sure. For
It's,
sure.
yeah, so I tell them, okay, this is what we do, so what else do you need from us so that you can
Yeah.
support us, so that is basically, so it has gotten us, the corporates that have even given one-time donations have done that as a result of our presence on social media. And then fundraising, you never know. Just also approach, sometimes do random approaches. Just as someone, who do consider supporting what they do. Because I remember yeah, I think it was last year,
Mm-hmm.
I did that. I was just scrolling through my Instagram, and then I see, oh, okay, this person who is following me. So I just sent them. I was just checking on them. Then we were having a conversation, and then I didn't even ask what they do, but they
Mm-hmm.
did ask me what I do. So I explained. Then I was like, And then the person was like, why are you awake this late? I'm like, no, I'm trying to figure out how to fundraise for this thing because it is really eating up my mind. And then they're like, okay, so what? So they got to ask so much about what I do. And then in the process, the
Mm-hmm.
next day, I get a phone call from Stanbic Bank Kenya. And I'm like, okay, what has happened? Actually, we've gotten a call from our headquarters. Stanbic Bank is a Chinese bank. So they got a call from the headquarters in China that
Mm-hmm.
you do something called Kapovuji. And then I'm like, yeah. So they told me like they were having some ball games, some competition at the Safaricom Indoor Arena. So they said, can you come during that time? And then you meet with the leadership of Stanbic Bank in Kenya.
Mm-hmm.
So I went, and then I also tagged along one of the students that we have from one of the schools. And then I went there, and they were like, okay, we normally have CSR, and we do CSR at least once in a year. And now that because we received a call from our headquarters to support what you do, imagine that's how simple decisions can be made.
And
I
this
don't know
is
why
a
people
whole
have to
bank.
take people through proposals. This is a whole bank. So, and then their CEO was there. All the departmental heads were there, and then they were like, so, because every year we have an amount that we set aside. So they said, so what we're going to do? We are going to do 80,000 shillings for Kapuvuji,
Mhm.
just like
That is
that.
a lot of
And it
money.
was cash. It was cash. It
What?
wasn't even.
Cash.
They were like, we are bank. We don't give
Cash.
checks. Yeah, they were like, it's a bank. They don't give checks. It would look bad on them giving a check instead of.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so and then later on when the person came to Kenya, then they told me like that Kempinski Hotel, so they would like to meet me. Then I go, and then I'm like, I realized like she's a very senior person, like she's the one in charge of, I don't know, the global card system in the whole
Mm-hmm.
world. I was like, okay, wow. And she was just summoning them around, so I didn't know. You never know who you are, who is watching even
You're
on social
talking
media.
to.
So yeah, so that is quite important. So social media very powerful. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, sometimes you can do random approaches, but it also depends on how you are packaging your random approach. Don't just go bombarding someone with words. Try
Yeah.
to at least build a conversation before you get to the point of asking someone if they can support you.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that many organizations tend to fail, or many upcoming organizations, is documenting the process. Tell us
Yes.
about how you and your team document every single thing you do, all the donations, all the meetings,
Mhm.
the photos. Like, you make sure you have things in place.
Okay, one, I think I have the advantage of having studied communication. I'm practically employing what I studied in the field. You know, some of us we study, but it is just theory. But when it comes to a practical bit, it becomes
Yeah,
another thing. Yeah,
yeah.
I've seen such instances.
Francis, I can't hear you. Just check your mic, or maybe it's just me. Check your mic. Uh, okay, Francis, if you can hear me, we've lost your sound. Okay, unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. Okay. Sorry, guys. So let me tell him to unmute himself. Hmm.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. It seems you muted
Uh,
yourself.
okay, thank you.
Yeah, but now we can hear you. Okay.
Yeah, if you mute me, I can't unmute myself. That is the bad thing with this technology thing here. I don't
Yeah.
know why mine has refused to unmute when you mute me. So
Okay. Okay. So you're
yes,
talking about documenting.
yes, we were talking about documenting. Yeah. So one thing that is very important is that we need to have like make sure you take photos, and then the photos really need to be good photos. And if you can do videos, you can do videos. Can you get me, Cynthia?
I don't know why your network is slowing down.
No, my network is actually full, so I don't know why.
Okay. Okay. Now I hear you. I just go on.
Okay, okay, thank you. So basically, we document by making sure that we do photos and we share, and we also make sure we are transparent as possible. We always share the donations we receive, in as much as the people are anonymous, the people donate, but we share like, okay, we've received this much, because it is always good to be accountable. And then also you give, maybe giving a total of whatever you've received, say, okay, we were fundraising, we've been raising this amount, and right now we are at this point. Just informing people where you are at is quite important, you know.
Hmm. And
Yes. So yes, yes.
uh, you told me about how somebody noticed your website, because I think a lot of young people always talking about their website and all that. But
Mhm.
just tell people how this person came and helped you to put your website. Was it just because they thought, oh, this is a good organization? Did you ask?
Okay, about our website, that was the most interesting of things to happen to us. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
So the website came about because actually this happened to be an Instagram friend.
Mm-hmm.
So they just sent me a message and they were like, "Hey, I've just been going through scrolling through your feed, and I can see you do some amazing work." And she was like, "I've done communication. Is it okay? Do you have a website? And is it okay if I could help with that?" Then I was like, "Okay, yeah, that's fine. You know, if you can help develop something." And then I was like, "That's fine." And then again, this is someone who was actually who studied in Kenya. She's a
Mm-hmm.
US citizen. She
Mm-hmm.
studied in Kenya. She's a lady who was actually adopted. She's a North Korean. She was adopted by American citizens when she was at the age of 6. So she went to the US and then she came studied in Kenya and went back to the US. And then she had also another friend who happens to be now a Kenyan but staying in the US, and also another guy who is staying in Israel. So, and then her mother happens to be a journalist in the US. So the four of them came together and they said, "We are developing your website, we are developing your logo. I believe you've seen our new logo. We are
Yes, yeah.
developing your logo." Yeah, and so they did all that, like no cost. Actually, they were like, I remember when we had the first initial conversation with all of them, which was actually a video conversation with the four of them. Then the mother cried. She was like, "No, you're doing so much, and us we're just feeling like we're doing so little on this other side. You know, is there anything else we need to do from our end?" You know?
Yeah.
And yeah, so that is how the website ended up coming about. It was still the power of social media. You just never know who is watching. You never know. Yeah, some of the most amazing people I've met through social media, you know, you are included.
Yes, me, yeah. Oh, by the way, now that you said, at the bottom of your screen, at the bottom of your
Yes,
screen, there's a call to action button. Please, guys,
yes.
make sure you read Francis his story. Make sure you read
You
his
can't write
story.
Francis another ness.
Yeah, I know. So make sure you catch up with his story. Though I wrote it back in 2017, so it's been a while. There's new developments. Follow him on social media. Just get to see the work that he's doing. And I know you've been speaking for a while now, so I'll invite anyone who has something to say, any reflections. Just type yes on the comment box, or indicate something, and I'll invite you on screen maybe to ask Francis a question, or to comment. So just before we go into that, so now people have started seeing the work you've been doing, and you've done like a lot of media interviews. You did a Facebook
Yes,
live yesterday with
yes,
Joy Doreen. So
yes.
how have you pitched your story to these media houses, or did they just notice you? Did someone recommend you? Because like some of the young people here are always looking for those
Mhm.
platforms to amplify to amplify the work they do.
Okay. It, it is based on your hard work. Let me tell you. Let me just be very honest. It is based on hard work and a lot of patience. Majority of us young people, patience is not our thing. It happens all the time. Patience is not our cup of tea. But you know, we really need to be patient because it has taken me all those years since 2011. You know, people are just noticing cup of tea just the other day. You know,
2011.
so
What?
yeah, you know. So people are just doing it's now 9 years. So people are just noticing cup of tea the other day. And so one for the media houses that have been doing the media interviews, this is the thing, they saw what we do on social media, purely on social media, nothing, no approach, no nothing, no one. I didn't even know anyone in the in the media circles by then. So it is purely on what we do and what we document on social media. So I get calls that, "Oh, would you mind coming for an interview?" Then I'm like, "Okay." You know, I remember one time I went for a live show at KTN in the morning on a Sunday morning at 7. And then I met this guy at the waiting bay, and he was like, "Okay, you can have my card. You know, you need some of these media interviews." And we started having a conversation, and then he was like, "Okay, how did you get to come here today for the live session that is starting from 7?" Then I'm like, "I was called. The station called me." He's like, "Okay, you are kidding, you know." I'm like, "Yeah, it's the truth." And then he asked, "You didn't even pay anything?" I'm like, "I paid nothing." They called me with the official lines, you know. And he was so shocked. Actually, I left there. He didn't still believe the story that I didn't even pay anything and I didn't know anyone at the place. And yeah, so based on that. And then another thing is once you get maybe the first or the second or the third media interview, then based on that story and your story and those people listening, they recommend it to their colleagues in other media houses. So when their colleagues want to do a story that is focusing on something, they would easily recommend, and so you get a call and you're like, oh, I got your number from so and so from this media house, so would you allow me to do your story? So that is how it has worked for us.
Wow. And just
Yeah.
tell them some of the media houses you've been interviewed so that they can go check the stories.
Okay, we have K24, we have KTN, we have NTV.
Mm-hmm.
They did the nation, the nation newspaper, standard newspaper, the People Daily.
Mm-hmm.
Is that okay? I think only KBC is remaining, and then
How come?
Citizen and KBC. Those are the only ones that we've never had the opportunity to be interviewed there. But yeah, practically in almost all the rest. My first interview was at it's called Ghetto Radio.
Mm-hmm.
That was my first media interview at Ghetto Radio, and hey, that was a tough day. Let me just be honest,
Why?
because I didn't see it. One, I didn't see it coming,
Mm-hmm.
and then uh, I didn't see it coming, and then secondly,
Mm-hmm.
okay, sorry about.
It's okay.
I was trying to call me. Sorry. So I didn't see it coming. And
Mm-hmm.
then, secondly, for all 3 hours in the morning, on a very chilly morning,
Mm-hmm.
I had to speak Sheng for 3 good hours in a radio
What?
station. That was the most difficult thing. And okay, that was crazy. I never knew Sheng, but it was interesting. Also, I was learning at the same time, and at the same time, it was interesting in terms of the feedback from those who are listening, and then
Mm-hmm.
also the people who are in the station were so psyched up. So yeah, so it made it easier for me for the 3 hours that I stayed there, and yeah, so yeah, that was my first media interview, and they shared on their platforms about what I do, and yeah, it just blew, yeah, just like that.
So, so basically, the message is you need to be prepared. But I wouldn't be able to speak Sheng. I don't know if there's anyone who here who would be able to speak Sheng.
Let me give
Oh
you an
goodness.
example. Huh?
Yeah.
Let me give you an example. I went
Mm-hmm.
to, I don't know where it's, there is a slum somewhere. I don't know whether it's in Ayole or where, but there is
Mm-hmm.
a slum somewhere where I'd been invited.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I went there, I'd actually been invited by a friend to go and mentor boys, because it was
Mm-hmm.
a primary school, both boys, public, both boys and girls. On that day, I was sharing about hard work. So fortunately, one day, just I think last year, but one I was sharing about a TBT with the boys. So at the end of the session, we had a photo session together, and then I shared that on my Instagram wall.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone comes to my inbox and they're like, "Hey, I remember you." I'm like, "Who are you?" And then they're like, "No, I was in that class when you were talking to us about hard work.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result of that conversation that you had with us, I
Mm-hmm.
just graduated yesterday at the
Wow.
university here in the US. So I was like, wow. And they sent me his graduation photos. I was like, yeah, it was so humbling. So yeah, so that is it.
Yeah, that's so wonderful to hear. So now that you've been speaking for a while, maybe I'll just invite some guys here to give reflections on what you've been saying. Some of the participants here. I know you've not met them.
Yeah, I haven't met them. I'm seeing their faces. I hope I'll see
Yeah,
all their faces.
well, you might not be able to see them at once, but Tracy is here. Tracy, what are your reflections on all Francis has been saying? You've been speaking for a while.
Hi,
Hi.
Hi.
you can hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we can.
I, so what I have learned is documenting your process. For me, from what you have said and your initiative and your organization, it's sort of you have unified your cause with your brand, with you. Like your brand is you, and it's your cause, it's your purpose, it's your everything. And I think a lot of organizations which are starting up, or what many youths want to do, they miss that part. Like your cause needs to be in line with your purpose, so that when it comes to branding, documenting it, it's not work. It's just there. It flows. Yeah. And also on fundraising. I think as a culture, we need to learn to fundraise for ourselves, to help ourselves first before we start applying for those big proposals and good money. But then again, that's the thing. We don't have that. We don't have that feeling of just giving a helping hand to someone who is in your area, in your local. Like Francis, if you can tell us, those people that are continuing funding your initiative, are they people from your own area, or they are people from far away?
Okay, let me tell you, let me be honest around that, because my family has come to embrace the fact that they can't do anything about what I do. Though I do other jobs on the side, but they have come to embrace the fact that I'm passionate about this. And so they're also supportive, I remember sometimes they're like, no, why we are seeing you do, why is it that you don't want us to tithe towards this? So these days they tithe towards what I do. And then in terms of where I come from, it has been a struggle. Let me be honest, it has been a struggle. And though sometimes there are people from there who support, but at the same time, where you come from, there will always be a lot of politics. People will always think like, hey, this person is interested in some seat somewhere. So there has to be that element of opposition. But what has helped me along the way is the fact that I can be able to have conversations with them, because I remember there was a time we had issues in a school that is actually from where I come from, and actually it was the first school which we started supporting, because there were these issues like, this thing is the school is a Catholic school, but now they were like, this school, this initiative is an SDA sponsored initiative. I've never even been to an SDA church in the first place. So I was like, so when that reached me, and I realized actually the person who was sharing about that happened to be the area chief, whom we invite to each and every event that we hold. So I just requested the head teacher to call the school management committee, and then I requested the chief to also be present. So I told them, okay, you guys have had this. So for me, it is simple. So this is how we are going to do it. If you don't want this program in this school, we just cancel. There's so many needy schools out there. So I don't have to struggle having to do with your local bidding and local politics. I can still take it to another school, because there are so many needy schools around. So I had to sit down with them, and just to be honest with them, so sometimes it takes putting your foot down, in some of these issues, because it's tough. It's tough. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much. And Tracy, I featured Tracy as well. Maybe Tracy, you can tell us some of the things you might want to implement in your own organization, because I know you've also been doing a bit of fundraising from your side. Yeah.
So what I've learned from Francis is that sharing your work. For me, yes, I document the process and sharing, but I get tired. It's frustrating continuing sharing the work, so it's frustrating. Like, I've been doing this exercise, reimagining education in schools, where I want to teach emotional and social development to help the kids grow up with a good mental health. So recently, I've been working with these two primary schools, Kimumu and GK High Prisons. So this year, the head teacher tells me that I need a letter now. Like, 2018, all that year round, I've been working on exercises, tools, everything, coming up with these books, portfolio books for the kids. And then to this year, that I need a letter. So, nimetuma kwa the county education director. And ananiambia, he's not the one that is supposed to give the letters. You see, we are a community organization, but now I have to approach the national Ministry of Education for a letter to implement the exercises. It's baffling. because they have seen this is something that the kids want. The kids enjoy when we come to the school those twice a week for those activities. They love it. But what's happening now? And it's just politics.
Yeah. But I think what Francis is trying to tell us is that we all just need to be patient in our different areas. Okay, great. So I see someone else is coming on screen. Thank you so much, Tracy. Lorraine, finally you're here. Thank you, Tracy. So I see Lorraine on screen. Hi, Lorraine. Hi. Oh, okay. So I see she's disconnected. Francis, Victoria here says, she's called Victoria Nduta. She says, I hope you can hear me. Francis, you're muted. Unmute your mic. I don't know why you're muted. Okay. Don't mute your mic. Okay, unmute yourself. Meanwhile, Lorraine, I see you. Okay. Let me invite you back. So we are almost finishing.
Hello?
Yes, Francis, now you're unmuted.
Yeah, I didn't even mute. I don't know how you do it from your end.
I don't know what happened because I didn't mute you. Okay, anyway.
Yeah.
I was just reading a reflection from Victoria. Victoria says, my reflection is you have to truly believe in your cause. This way you are able to accurately communicate your vision and purpose to others, either verbally or on social media. I really think
it's true.
Yeah,
you must have the passion without and that is something I even tell the lady who is in charge of our volunteers. I tell her, don't worry about these people. If someone wants to be passionate about serving, give them 1 week, they will be gone, because they will be like, no, this is too much. So you must have the passion for it. You must really, really, really have the passion for it. And just push it. Just continue pushing it and make sure that you make a difference the best way possible. Because passion drives us sometimes when things are thick. It drives us. So
now that you're even talking about passion, what is passion? What is it something you feel in the heart or in the mind?
No, it is something you feel in the heart, something you feel like deeply emotional. I wouldn't say so much emotional, but something you feel like it's something you want to do, something that is a burning desire in you that you really want to do something. So I think that for me is passion, because when I went to teach, it wasn't something I was passionate about. I was like, the money was good, but I was like, no, this is not my place. So
yeah, for
so
sure.
I still longed to be out there with the kids, and so passion is very important. And then another thing I wanted to emphasize on before the participants disappear from this place is that the fact that in as much as you are doing your branding, be also mindful about your personal social media space.
Yeah.
Be very, very mindful and very careful about your personal, aside from the social media handles of your initiative. Be also mindful of what is it that comes out of your mouth when you share something on social media, or what are you sharing, be it the images, be it the words. Be very cautious. I know there are people who are very silent. They won't comment, they won't like, but they will see.
I know.
I've had instances like that. Yeah, I've had instances like that. Someone tells you, Francis, I've been following your work for the last 5 years and I love your consistency, and now I want to support. You see, but they have not been commenting. They're not like, you even didn't know they were your friend on social media in the first place to begin with. So yeah, so it is very important to be very mindful about what goes out there. Yeah, so yeah, the internet never forgets.
Yeah, for sure, it never forgets. I was even being told that these days, even if you delete something, there's somebody out there who has an external app that can download something that was deleted. So if it was on
No, but
Facebook,
just
they can go to Facebook and download it from the server.
but even if you ask yourself, when did you join Facebook? Years ago, and you still get memories for, I don't know, 10 years ago. How
Yes.
does it surface? So that tells you the internet never forgets. So you have to be
Yeah,
very
for
careful about
sure.
what goes out there. Yeah, so if you wrote some silly stuff, you will look at them and you will be like, oh no, this is crazy.
Yeah, for sure. Lorraine was saying that she's been trying to come on screen, but she's not able to connect. So, Lorraine, if you can hear me, just send a comment and we'll read it out aloud. Francis, thank you so much for the conversation that we've had today.
Yeah,
Just
sure.
before, yeah, honestly, it's really been a learning platform. Every time I speak to you, I just learn something new. And I hope for the participants here, they've learned something new, especially if you're looking for money, because everyone is looking for money somewhere. Even now, people are looking for money to help
Yeah,
them.
don't push too hard. Don't push people too hard to a corner. People will run away from you if you push them too hard.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So just before we go, I'll get back to you, Francis, but I have a little challenge
Okay.
for the participants and for you as
Okay.
well. It's a very common proverb, but I'd like for people to think a little just before we go. So guys, if you can hear me, please be attentive. We'll take about 5 minutes to do this exercise.
I hope it's not the one that they put me at Switch TV to do on live TV. That is never have I ever.
Ah,
I was
no,
like, what the hell? Okay,
no,
yes, thank you.
no.
That was crazy.
Yeah, before we get into that exercise, Victoria is asking, how can one volunteer?
Volunteering, basically. Okay, now fortunately we have a website which makes it easier, which is kapovuji.org. So there is a place where there is a segment on the website where you can click volunteer. There is actually a segment on the website that is volunteer. So you just click on it, and then the details it will ask you for, you just submit. Then you'll be able to receive that, and then yeah. So and then we have a lady who handles the volunteers. She's called Annabelle. So she'll be able to get in touch with the person and then just have a conversation and then see if they can meet or if just guide the person. Yeah. So that is easy enough.
I hope you got it, Victoria, kapovuji.org. And in case you
Yes.
have any challenges, please reach out to me. I will talk to Francis.
Yeah, she knows how to talk to me.
Or she can talk to you.
I know you know how to do it.
Yeah. Okay. So we have a little exercise here.
Yes.
So let's go. So we have, this is a very common question, but people usually don't get the answer. Even me, I don't know why. So we have we have 5 elements in this story.
Mhm.
We have
Mhm.
a woman. We have a woman. We have a chicken. We have a bag of corn. We have a boat and a fox. So let me repeat. We have a woman. I hope you have your notebooks there, guys.
A woman, a bag of
We have
corn,
a chicken,
and then a chicken. There is a
a
boat.
boat,
There is a fox.
there is a fox. So this woman needs to get the fox, the chicken, and the bag of corn across to the other side of the river in very few moves. Let me repeat. The woman needs to get all these things to the other side of a river in very few moves. So she's not supposed to work too hard. So the boat can only carry her and one other item at a time. Just her and one other item. So the other items are a chicken, a bag of corn, a boat, and a fox. But this woman has a dilemma. So she can't leave the fox and the chicken alone together because the fox will eat the chicken. She can't leave the fox and the chicken alone together because the fox will eat the chicken. She can't leave the chicken with the corn because it will eat the corn. Yeah. So how can she get all these elements safely to the other side of the river? How can she get all these elements, all the other elements that she has, to the other side of the river? So think about it. We'll take 2 minutes to think about it. Once you have an answer, please comment on the chat box there. There's a chat box.
Cynthia, you're bad. You're just bad.
Meanwhile,
Why did you have to? Why did you have to do this one?
this one is usually really challenging. I see Lorraine is coming. Oh, Lorraine is there.
Yes.
Hi, Lorraine. Lorraine. Hi.
Yeah, she's there.
Okay, she's
I think
gonna.
Hi.
she's having a
Hi,
problem.
Lorraine. I hear you.
How are you?
Fine, finally.
All right.
Yes, a
Yeah,
little reflection from you.
finally. So I think for me is, I think what I have learned is about transparency, to your, to your donors and the people that you're helping out. And yeah, that's, I think, yeah, I don't have much to say, but all I have to say is that I have learned a lot. Thank you for hosting this.
We can't hear you. Okay, that's a network challenge. But I hope you got what she said so far.
Yeah, transparency, very important. People ask me how Kenyans are able to support. 99.99% of people who support what we do are Kenyans. So people are always shocked by that. They're like, how do they do it? But it is because, you are transparent with whatever. Kenyans love it when you are transparent and accountable. And I saw that last year. That was 2019. When we were going to Turkana to do relief food distribution. And then the Red Cross decided to do a pay. And yeah, that the hashtag that was trending on Twitter wasn't something that any other organization would ever want to trend, because Kenyans were feeling like they had been duped into donating before, and now they're not donating to Kenya Red Cross again. So
Yes,
that was
I remember.
Yeah. So that was crazy. So being transparent, very, very important. Very important.
Yeah. So do you usually do like reports to these agencies that donate money, like Stanbic? Did you do a report?
Yes, we have an annual audit. We do annual financial audits, which has a whole package of the finances we received and how we used them, and then we share with them, so they will be able to see their name plus what they give inside that report.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah.
So I'm just typing out the challenge here for anyone who didn't hear. Then I'll read it out again. So she
No,
can't.
but me allow me to be excused from this challenge. This challenge is just going to crack my head.
You will be excused since you're a participant. Oh, Bella has an answer. Let's see what she says. So just before I read out Bella's answer, in case someone didn't hear, let me read it again. So we have 5 elements. We have a woman, we have a chicken, we have a bag of corn, a boat, and a fox. So this woman needs to get the fox, the chicken, and the bag of corn across to the other side of the river without working too hard. So the boat can only carry her and one other item at a time. So this is her dilemma. She can't leave the fox and the chicken alone together because the fox will eat the chicken. She can't leave the chicken with the corn because it will eat the corn. Yeah. So how can she get all these elements safely to the other side? So let's read Bella's. She's called Bella Mine Nabuire. Now Nabuire. Oh gosh, my pronunciation is bad. Bella Mine. Let me read her answer. She says, let's see. So she says, the woman and the chicken cross the river. Okay. The fox and the corn are now safe together. She then leaves the chicken on the other side and goes back across. Then the woman takes the fox across the river, and since she can't leave the fox and the chicken together, she brings back the chicken with her. Then since the chicken and the corn can't be left together, she leaves the chicken and takes the corn across and leaves it to the fox. Francis, don't get confused. She will
No,
then
those are so many moves. I'm just wondering.
and head across the river one last time. So Bella has the answer. So you see, the fox will eat the chicken, and the chicken.
But the
will
moves are so many, Cynthia. The moves are so many in as much as that's the answer. You know,
Yes,
I thought you were limiting the moves.
yes, but that's the simplest. Can you
Yeah, but I
imagine?
get it.
Yeah,
I get the point there.
yeah. Tracy was saying she takes the chicken across, then she comes back, takes the fox, goes back with the chicken, leaves it, transport the bag of corn, and gets back for the chicken. Yeah, so those are the two right answers. So, every time I read this challenge, I've never really known the answer. And it has so many variations from I don't know, a lion and a person, and I've had this riddle ever since I was a kid. So
Interesting.
thank you, Bellarmine and Tracy for giving us the answer right away. Yeah, so we are almost at 12. Today we finished in good time. So how are
Yeah,
you
I'm
feeling?
seeing we have some 19 minutes.
Yeah, how are you feeling today after this session, Francis?
Okay, thank God they didn't put me on the hot seat, your participant. So I'm lucky. Sometimes when you sit from the other side and people have to do the questioning,
Yeah.
it becomes crazy. So thank God they've not bombarded me with questions. I'm lucky on that front.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
guess
and
it means they were getting everything. You are very clear and concise.
I hope so. I hope they're able to get everything, and I hope that in the next 2 or 3 years I'll be able to read about the initiatives and what they're doing. Yeah, just the other day I met someone, a lady and a gentleman, and they're running. Actually, that they have innovated an application that
Mhm,
tests about water, the availability of water in a place,
mhm,
and it's I think it's text based, so that I don't know, there is a way they're testing, and then they also test the whether the water is safe for drinking and stuff like that. And they've already started working with Juja water and yeah. So I told them like, yeah, that's a nice innovation. So
mhm.
yeah, so I would just urge them not to give up. Sometimes yeah, it gets tough. Let me be honest. Let me be very honest. Sometimes it gets tough. Sometimes you don't have that money. Sometimes you need the money, you don't have it. And yeah, so for me in those moments, I be real with God.
Mhm,
And yeah, because it takes prayer. So if you see me writing my Jesus stories,
mhm.
sometimes for me it takes prayer. So, and I always tell my team, it reaches that point where I sit on a seat and I talk to God as if I'm talking to a fellow human being I'm seeing from the other side. So yeah, so sometimes it gets tough. And
Yeah.
yeah, and also when it gets too tough, take a walk. I always do a lot of nature walks when it just to clear your head and be back to normalcy. So you can take a walk, do something else, just get your mind off, just do something
Mhm,
to get off the stressful moment. Because yeah, or talk to a friend, just call a friend, text a friend, have a
mhm,
conversation that is not about what you do. It
mhm.
helps. It really
Yeah,
helps. So
for
yeah,
sure.
there will be those tough moments. You get phone calls from a teacher. So we're almost running out of flour. We're almost running out of sugar. You're like, okay, Jesus Christ, we don't have the funds. So what else do we do?
What next?
Yeah, because like you see, like right now we are doing the packages for the families, and the families of these children, and we can't do it for the West Pokot people because the
Mhm.
bridge that we are using to cross over to that other side has been swept away by flood, so we can't access the place literally.
Yeah.
So it's quite sometimes, yeah, you get to those frustrating moments, and then yeah, also work on your time management skills. Hey, make sure you make. Hey, if there is one thing that my volunteers know me for, it is about time management, because they know when you are going somewhere, when you do an activity,
Yeah.
And we have agreed we are all meeting at 10.
Mm-hmm.
10:05, I'll be gone.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I remember there's a day someone came from very far and they were shocked. I was like, yeah, we had agreed it is 6 a.m. We were to meet and go together. And I was patient enough to wait until 6:20. Zero communication as to whether you are almost arriving or something. And yeah, so it's
Or
important
people who
because
keep saying they're in traffic.
oh, don't give that excuse. Especially when you're meeting these senior people and in their companies, and they give you the time to go meet them. So don't run that risk. just try. Well, Cynthia will tell you avoid that risk.
Avoid it for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So time management is very key, and patience.
Yeah.
Patience. Hey, young people, patience is very key. Very very important. Run at your own pace. I know you sometimes you see, oh, so and so has done so much and everything. It takes time to build the things. It really takes time. It takes a lot of hard work. It takes a lot of sacrifices. There are nights I've slept without, I've not like had sleep, So it's a whole complex thing. There is no easy route. There is no shortcut. Just you have to go the long route. But what will keep you is the passion you have for whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Put
For
in the
sure.
passion, everything is okay.
Yeah. You had it from Francis himself. Vicky says, this was so insightful. I have a lot to think about. Thank you for joining the session, Vicky. Vicky is an advocate of the Sustainable Development Goals.
Oh,
So, yes, she's a
is
passionate
it the
advocate.
Vicky I know or it's the Vicky I don't know?
Vicky Aridi. You know Vicky Aridi?
Yeah, yeah, she had invited me to a forum and I had to run away from Arusha just to come and address her people. That was quite, and
Wow.
imagine it was the first time we were meeting. So Vicky, keep up the good work. Yeah, I had
Wow,
to meet
that's
people.
wonderful.
We were having a training in Arusha for you lead, and I had to explain to the senior guys that these people have invited me to go give them a talk about Kapovuji.
Wow.
So I had to cancel the last 3 days so that I come over back to Nairobi.
Wow.
I think I arrived the evening, and then the next morning I had to go to address those people. So yeah, so Vicky, keep up the good work. I have seen her work. Yeah, she uses social media in a nice way. So yeah,
Yeah,
keep soldiering on. Yeah,
for sure.
we are watching. We are proud.
She also says, great work, Kapovuji. Keep pushing on. We are cheering you and keep transforming lives.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Tracy says, respect people's time. And Emma says, much respect.
Thank you.
Wow, so thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, we do what we can when we can for humanity, and even just along the same, work on sustainability, because as currently we are working on that. We've been, though Corona happened when we were just about to start, because we wanted to start exporting some of the items that women in Kajiado and in Turkana make to the US. We actually there is a company that I had already got into a conversation with, and they are willing to be importing those items. And because we had already bought baskets once from Turkana when we did the relief food distribution. So think about sustainability, because we want those funds to go into, we want Kapovuji to stop depending on donations. If you can think of doing something that can make you stop depending on donations, do it. Yeah, just grab it with your two hands. Do it. If it is a business, you can start on the side, whose every profit will go into supporting what you do. Just give it your all. Yeah, that is very important, because along the way, people will also get tired of donating. So what happens when you don't have the funds? You have the programs, you don't have the money. So yeah, so I would urge every young person think along those lines. Someone can argue t-shirts, yeah, we've sold t-shirts, but it's not sustainable. You need something long term.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Finally, Judith says, great work, Francis. Thank you for sharing. This was a great session. Thank you for joining.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm humbled. The pleasure is all mine. And I always love speaking to young people. In the Rotary circles, we have a guy. He's called Dr. Mugusha. He's a lecturer at JQuad. So whenever I'm invited to speak to young people, even in learning institutions, like He calls me priest because I love talking to young people. So I would give my whole time just speaking to young people, and
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you. It's really
thank
been
you, thank you
lovely
so much.
hosting you
Thank you so
today.
much. I really appreciate, and keep up the good work. And to the participants, keep pushing. Never give up. There's no giving up in this life. You are still too
Yeah.
young to give up. Oh, why would you give up? And sometimes I hear of suicide cases, and I'm like, oh no, no, that's such a young life wasted. Never give
Yeah.
up. That's nothing. Don't even think about committing suicide. It's the last thing should to be on your to-do list.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So guys, we are done for the day. Thank you, Francis. You guys
You're
can
most
now
welcome.
start living at your own pleasure. That's what they say at events. Tomorrow we'll have another session, same time, same place, and we will be talking about telling the story of your cause. Please join in 10 or 15 minutes earlier so that we can check your microphone and your network and all those logistics. Bye, guys. Until tomorrow.
Bye. Thank
Bye,
you.
bye, bye. Thank you, Francis.
You're most welcome. So how do I leave from this thing?
There's a close button,
Oh, the close
the
button.
X, the X.
Oh, okay. Thank
Yeah. Bye, guys. And that is all for today. We were talking about fundraising for your cause. If you are watching on YouTube, thank you for joining in for the session. Make sure you share this video with your friends. Until tomorrow, same time, same place, we'll be talking about telling your story. Cynthia Untamed is about educating and informing young people. Bye.